So Hereditary is proving to be quite the divisive film. The critics love it, they're giving it an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, but people seem to be hating this movie like celebrities hate Donald Trump.
Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. Yeah, nigga, fuck Donald Trump.
How you gonna have your wife get at Michelle Obama, nigga? Fuck you, nigga.
I'm gonna say one thing. Fuck Trump.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mr. Movie Guy, and today I'm gonna be reviewing Hereditary. So for those of you who don't know, Hereditary is a movie that follows this family, and more specifically this lady named Annie, as she begins to unravel all these deep, dark secrets regarding her family lineage. The movie begins with the death of Grandma, which leaves us with Annie, who's played effectively well actually by Toni Collette. You might recognize her from The Sixth Sense, which is a movie kind of in this realm. Toni Collette's character has a lot on her plate in this movie. She's dealing with the death of her grandma, as well as having to parent this psycho-ass 13-year-old girl and her emo-ass 18-year-old son. I don't want to say too much without spoiling the movie, but let's just say when Grandma was alive, she gets the family into some shit that now Toni Collette's character Annie has to get them out of. Now I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't planning on doing a review on Hereditary, let alone watching the movie. But I got this random text from my mom right after she watched Hereditary, because I guess she wanted to give me her hot take. Mind you, she watches a lot of movies, I mean a lot of movies, and she never, if rarely, texts me her opinion right after a movie. So for her to do this, she must have some really strong opinions. Hi my son, don't know if you're working, but I wanted to warn you not to see that movie Hereditary. Man, it sucked. Wasn't scary at all. I feel like writing a letter of grievance to the director of the movie. If it wasn't because I got in free, I would demand a refund. Shit emoji. That movie comes in second place of the worst movie ever. The first place goes to The Tree of Life. Well, number one, I gotta say, I do agree with my mom. The Tree of Life was a horrible movie, so maybe me and my mom's taste in movies might be Hereditary. Now, despite the strong words from Mama Movie Guy, there were quite a few things I liked, so let's go dive into the positives I took out of Hereditary.
I like that.
Well, let me tell you, the first thing that actually stood out when I watched this movie was the great, amazing cinematography and imagery. I don't know the cinematographer's name by memory, but I have it here pulled up on my computer. His name is Paweł Pogorzelski. I hope I'm saying that right, Paweł Pogorzelski. He definitely deserves some kind of award, or at least to be nominated, or at least to be considered. Because he did a really good job. This film is also directed by a guy named Ari Aster, which sounds like a great porn name, but it's actually his real directing name, real given name by birth, Ari Aster. He does a good job as well. This is actually his first feature-length film, and I wouldn't have noticed if I didn't do my research. The guy's good. He definitely has a bright spot in this business. Another thing I liked was the lack of jump scares. There is zero jump scares in this movie. I don't know about you, but I actually appreciate when a movie doesn't have to go the cheap route to evoke fear. Now, a lot of people do like jump scares, and that's kind of the reason why there's a big discrepancy between the critics and the fans. The critics don't really need jump scares in their horror, but the casual movie-going fan does want that, and there's nothing wrong with wanting either or. It's just preferences. The acting was also very on point. You had Toni Collette in there doing her thing. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets nominated come Oscar time. She had the crazy look. She had the motherly look, she had the loving look, she had the hateful look. She had everything going. Different scenes called for her to act in different ways, and in every step of the way, in every scene, she did what was asked to do. She's one of those actresses you can tell she's really into her work, and as a viewer, I actually enjoy her because she enjoys doing what she's doing. Alex Wolff plays Toni Collette's oldest son. You might know him from Jumanji. Others might know him as the guy who looks like a bootleg Oscar Isaac. He does a good job for the most part, but honestly his character spends the whole movie doing one or two things. He's either smoking weed or looking sad-eyed. Millie Shapiro plays the youngest but definitely weirdest child in the family. She does a great job looking creepy. She's like a mixture of a 13-year-old normal girl and a 60-year-old Larry Bird. I don't know how she does it, but props to her. The cinematography, the directing, the acting, the atmosphere, these are things that I liked in this movie, but this movie was definitely not perfect. So let me touch up on some things that I really didn't like. So the first thing I didn't like about this movie was that it was so slow. It's like there were scenes that just dragged on and on. I just don't understand why they couldn't shorten up these scenes. I know it might have been because the director Ari Aster has done a lot of short films, and he's kind of used to that slow pace in a short film because you need it more in a setting like that. But when you're getting into feature-length territory, you gotta like speed it up, man. Come on. There were a lot of stupid character decisions in this movie. There's a scene where Alex Wolff, who plays the 18-year-old son, wants to go to a party, and his mom makes him take his 13-year-old sister, and he takes her. That's the thing. He actually takes her to the party. I don't know about you, but when I was 18, there was no way in hell I'd take my younger sister to a high school party. I'd be the biggest dweeb there. This kind of gets a pass because it does set up the movie's best scene, but it just, decisions like that and decisions the characters make throughout this movie, that kind of made me left scratching my head like, alright, what are we doing here? Also, I can't necessarily say that I was scared a lot, if at all. This movie had no jump scares, but it also didn't have a lot of horror. It was more of a suspense drama than anything, and I felt like marketing kind of misled us in a way. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, there's actually a dad in this movie, but he's not really worth talking about because he's pretty worthless. He's not even worth talking about. The ending was another thing that I just really didn't like. I was actually kind of left disappointed. There was a lot to be desired. I don't know if the writers kind of didn't know how to end the movie, because the first half and the concept of this movie were great, but the execution of the last third act, the last like half hour, the execution was subpar at best. It was a movie that was about 2 hours long, but it honestly felt like 2.5 hours. I was checking my watch on a regular basis, and whenever I check my watch on a regular basis, it's not necessarily a really good sign. The ending was so bad that after the end credits came, there was a guy seated like about 3 or 4 rows above me. After the movie ended, he yelled out, "This is the biggest waste of $20 in my life." Well, number one, I'm sure that guy has wasted $20 on way stupider things. And number two, if that is indeed the biggest waste of $20 in your life, you're doing pretty good for yourself. So the writing, the pacing, and the underdeveloped characters are just a few things I didn't like about this movie. So to sum up what I really think and whether you should watch it, let me give you the verdict. So unlike that asshole that yelled at the end of the movie what he actually thought about Hereditary, as if anyone cares, right? I don't consider it a big waste of money, actually. I thought it was a decent enough movie to watch, but it's not something I'll necessarily watch again. So because of that, I'm gonna have to give this a one-night stand. Alright guys, that'll be it for my review of Hereditary. If you watch this review, then you might think that I'm a pretty cool guy, so hit that subscribe button below. Make me a happy camper. I'll make you a happy camper by producing more videos. But until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.